Thank you so much. It's lovely to see you all this afternoon. My name's Lorraine Ross. I'm one of the STEM education officers here at Education Scotland. I'm joined by my lovely colleagues, Mary, Lynn and Ian, who are also on the call, and Ian Fife, who's on the call today to do some recording for us, to be able to share on the network a bit later on. So it's lovely to see so many of you here today. And have I just lost my screen? Have I?
Yeah.
Second. Is that back now?
Yes, that's it.
I'm a nightmare. I'm your resident technology expert, not this afternoon. My apologies. So great to see you here today. And obviously, don't know about you, but the first steps of spring are definitely appearing in my garden with some lovely narcissus suddenly putting in an appearance. So I thought this afternoon, what we thought we would do is just ask you, at the moment, what is putting a wee spring in your step at the moment? If you want to share in the chat pane, that'd be lovely. Or if you want to stick your hand up and come on camera, or let us hear your voice. But what at the moment are you celebrating, or what's putting that wee spring in your step or spurring you on at this moment? If you want to just pop that in the chat for us, that would be lovely. Lighter mornings and nights, absolutely, Miss Campbell. Oh, Lynn, we're looking forward to seeing you face to face tomorrow as well. Science Week coming up, excellent. That's what we like to hear. Fantastic. The sunsets have been quite something actually, Lindsay, over the last few days here. It's been lovely. Oh, baby's first holiday. How fantastic. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Yep, the better weather, yep. Beach walks. Not having to switch the lights on at 3 p.m. That makes such a difference, Ian. Absolutely. We did steal your thunder there, Laura, sorry. Yep, with the snowdrops, absolutely. Oh, Lynn, I was devastated that I did not see the Northern Lights this week because, you know, I'm a big fan. But I did have friends who were down in Ayrshire who did actually manage to get some cracking pics of them, which they've shared, which has just been, I'm very jealous, but it's lovely to see. Hot chocolate and the PJs on Mrs. Reid. That sounds like a plan. I missed a trick there. Definitely. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. I'm glad there's so many positive things in the chat and positive things happening, and hopefully this afternoon will also reflect that positivity. And we want to kind of keep that going and keep that positive attitudes going throughout what we're doing today, this afternoon, and within helping and supporting you on your STEM journey. And just to be a reminder that that is what our national STEM networks are here for. They are that way for you all to connect, like we've just been doing this afternoon already, that opportunity for you to share your practice and to share with each other and to learn from each other as well, and to create, it's a safe space for us to hopefully create some maybe partnership working or create new ideas for taking opportunities forward in whichever setting that you're working in. And obviously we're focusing on one of those examples this afternoon, which is that way and that ability to share. And with us this afternoon, we're delighted that we have Muriel, who's going to talk to us about the Gaelic Medium Education's STEM support for nursery practitioners and some of the work that she's been doing. And also we're delighted that Lindsay from Sidlaw View Primary is going to talk about their experience of STEM as well. So fantastic, and thank you so much to both colleagues for joining us this afternoon. That's much appreciated. Before we get on to do that little bit of sharing, we're just going to share some updates, just a wee quick update, some top news for you today. Our STEM Nation online resource has just recently been updated, gone over a wee makeover. And for those of you who don't know, there's a wee QR code there. But our STEM Nation online resource, we're hoping, is that kind of one-stop shop for resources to do with STEM and sciences, technology, engineering, the whole shebang. Hopefully we'll have a whole array of resources that can support you. You can visit that on the QR code there, or you can just pop stemnation.scot into your browser. If you do, you will see something that looks like this. This is what it looks like. We have, if I just click onto the resources tab, we've just remodified this where we have a whole raft of resources which are organised by sector for you. So if I just pop on to the primary sector here just now, you will see a range of different resources. These are some of our planning resources that we worked with on and developed with our colleague Laura, who's on the call today as well. And if you click on any of the resources, it gives you a bit of an overview of what's included in that, and these are all linked to external drives where you can download materials and things as well. You'll see across the top here that we have lots of different tabs for you to pick from, our resources, our networks, including this network, professional learning opportunities that we have available to you, that are on the form of anytime learning, different research and our events. We also have that events page there where we are sharing events like this that are on offer, but also there's a whole calendar view there of different events that are going on by external practitioners, external companies and partners as well for you. So if you haven't already had a wee look for it, I would recommend you go and have a wee look there too. One of the sections on that we have is practice, and we're about to hear about 2 examples of practice just now as well, but we're also really keen for you to be able to share your practice. So if you're inspired by things that you've heard today and you think, actually, we'd really like to tell you about a wee project we've been doing or part of the curriculum work that you're doing, then we'd really, really love to hear from you. And there's a wee form on there that you can do, that you can share your practice as well. So without further ado, I think I've waffled enough. I think what we're going to do now is hear some more interesting practice. So I think I'm going to pass over to Muriel first of all, who's going to talk to you a bit about their experience. So Muriel, if I could pass over to yourself.
Hey, hi there. My name is Muriel MacLeod, and I'm working for eSchool on the Isle of Lewis. And I was taken on for it's less than 2 years, but it's about a 1.5 year project to develop confidence in STEM in the early years nursery staff. It was funding that they got, and the aims were to develop online support, to coach support and help early years primary staff to engage confidently in STEM experiences, to assist early years Gaelic medium staff in identifying and sharing good practice, and to further develop training materials to deliver Gaelic medium STEM experiences to early year settings. I think that's something I started off doing a questionnaire, and that came up quite a lot, that they found it hard to find things in Gaelic. So I've helped with translating things and pointing in the right direction. I did 3 CLPL sessions, 2 in Lewis and 1 in Uist. And we also sent one of the play leaders from UIG Scolari. She went to a day in STEM Day at CERC in Dunfermline, and she thoroughly enjoyed it. That was her impact statement there. She had a great time, and she even came to my last CLPL session and did a wee input. So it was nice for her to get to deliver some ideas to her colleagues as well. And that's, I won't read it out. You can read it yourselves. But one of the things you can see in the pictures there that they did was paper making. So that was just using shredded paper from the shredder that every school doesn't know what to do with it, and they just made it into a pulp with water, and then they put like a wooden frame and some muslin, and then they squeezed it through to dry it. And they added things like flowers or food colouring, and then they dried it off and they made their own paper. So that was one of the favourite ideas that she fed back to us. Other activities was outdoor learning. Again, this was taken from a CERC session that I attended a few years ago when I was the lead science mentor for the authority. And that was things like going outside and doing a leaf hunt in pairs or groups. And they had 2 minutes to collect as many different leaves as possible from the surrounding area. And then they had to all come back and lay them out in a row on the playground and see if they could match up the similar ones between the groups and see who got the most, and talking about the different types of shapes and sizes and similarities and differences. And we also did some exploring with trees, so looking at the bark, doing rubbings, is there anything growing on it, under it, feel it, describe it. The tree trunk, can you reach round it? If not, how many of your friends do you need to reach round it? And looking at the plants that were in the surrounding area, like the different types and colours, and look at them with magnifying glasses or microscopes. And then we did a treasure hunt grid. Don't know if you can see it. So it's just squares, and I put, well, this is in Gaelic, colours, and a brown leaf, a jagged leaf, a red flower, a seed, a twig, some moss, and then it's just got double-sided sticky tape on it. So you just peel them off beforehand, and then you send them off in groups of 2s or 3s to try and see who can fill the grid first. Obviously, this could be adapted for absolutely anything to suit your topic. So that was the outdoor learning session. We also did a magnification session, again taken from a CERC meet, and that was looking at different types of magnifiers. So there's that one, and just these wee pocket ones or big ones, and just talking about the differences in them. And we also had a Wi-Fi microscope, which I got one purchased for each early years setting in our authority, and you link it to your phone or tablet, and it's so simple. It uses its own Wi-Fi, so you don't need to have it Wi-Fi. So that's, so can you guess what is in the magnifier? Any guesses? I don't know if you can see it very well, will I? So again, you just put it comes with a wee stand, or there's that stand as well, and they're only about £20 on Amazon. So it was just a wee bit of packaging. So we've got like a wee packet filled with different pieces of materials, bit of string, some foil, some newspaper. So just for them to explore and play with and talk about and describe what they're seeing. So that was another session. We also did another CERC meet, Teddy in the Park. I don't know if any of you have taken part in that before, but it's good fun. I just did that one 2 weeks ago for our local authority. So it's a story, Teddy in the Park. It's about two wee pals, two wee teddies that go for a walk, and then they lose their backpacks. So they have to find somewhere to stay. So they have to find something warm to sleep in. So they need sleeping bags. So we've got thermochromic paper, which if you put your hand on it and pull it away, it shows the heat. I don't know if you can see it very well, like that. So we had, pull this down enough. So I've got 3 universal tubes here, and there's lots of different types of materials, and you have to choose 3 different ones, and there's hot water in each universal tube. Well, it was hot when I poured it. Hopefully it still is. And then you would do this lying down with the things flat on the table, but you put the thermochromic paper against it, and you're looking for the one that doesn't change colour, because that shows you that it's, well, you can't see it. So I'll just hold it up. So you hold the universal tubes against it. So there's that one. That's the fluffy one. And then this is the foil. That one, it changes colour. Again, it's better when you have it flat on a table. And then this one is just a bit of mesh. And that one changes colour quite quickly as well. So the winner would be this one, because it's not releasing as much heat. That was one of the examples. Another one was the road sign to show them the way. They got washed away, so they have to make their own sign. There's a bit of blackboard, and it's which material makes the best sign. So we've got chalk, or a chalk pen, or paint, and then you would use a bottle of water with a wee sprinkler lid, and you just pour the water down it, and you see which one is best. I'm not demonstrating the water because I'm not cleaning up the mess. So you would pour that and see which, obviously making predictions first, and then were they right and why. That's another example. And then they had to find a tent because they'd lost their tent in the story. So again, a selection of materials and plastic cups. So we've got like a bit of tablecloth, some neon material, and just some black. So again, you would pour some water. You could use the water from your universal tube that you're finished with. Pour some water on top of each of these, the same amount. So you could pour one tube, and one tube. So it's a fair test. Pour it on, and then you see if any of the water has come through into the cup, and then that tells you which material is the most waterproof. I also, together with our PDSO, we made a transition project on Humpty Dumpty that schools could use with early nurseries, early years settings. And we came up with some science activities like, will Humpty sink or swim? How strong is Humpty's shell? Walking on Humpty's friends. So they would walk on the eggs and see what would happen. Egg strength experiment. Squishy Humpty. When you make, there's an experiment that you make the egg soft. Loads of different ones. And that's science technologies. How tall can you build a wall for Humpty to sit on? Can you put Humpty Dumpty back together, which is just pieces of puzzle with maybe plasters? And how can you protect an egg in a collision? And there's maths things like measure the height of Humpty Dumpty using cubes or Lego, measure the height of the wall, a height of a wall inside or outside, counting how many blocks are in the wall that you've made, and then the shapes and patterns on eggs, and rolling and stacking. So that was another thing that we came up with. Another thing I shared with the staff was Giglets, which our authority have purchased, and authority-wide, so all the schools in our authority have access to Giglets, and it has a lot of Gaelic books on it, which is what I was focusing on. So it was nice to share that with them and make them aware. Some may not have been aware that it existed or how to use it. And another thing I shared with them was a Codapillar. So this joins together. It comes in parts. You just pull them apart, and one of them, it'll go left or straight ahead or right or play a tune. So it's like an introduction to coding, and you just slot together in any sequence you like. You can put as many as you like in, and then it plays an annoying noise, loud. And then you just press the start button, and it'll move according to the program that you've set. But it's good. It's like a Bebot toy. And we also purchased resources for our earlier settings. So that's the Codapillar there in the picture. So we got magnetic shapes and sand, remote control cars, nuts and bolt science kits, the Wi-Fi microscopes, walkie-talkies, building blocks and magnetic ones, cars and people. And it's been very well supported, and we've had excellent feedback at all our CLPL sessions. There's just an example of some of the comments, and then I have a Teams page set up, and it's really going through social media and finding things that are already there rather than reinventing the wheel, and just putting them onto my Teams page, and I'll comment in Gaelic what it is so that they have the terminology and a link to the page that I found it from. For example, they'd made a ramp, and that I posted a picture with a ramp with cardboard, and they were like, perfect, let's do that. Also with they'd been doing something on winter and snow, but we hadn't had any snow, so they decided to make their own because I'd shared a post on how to make snow. And a rain cloud in a jar was another one that they did. So for the rain cloud in a jar, you've got water with coloured water in a coloured paint in a bowl, and then you put water in a vase, and you put shaving foam on, and then you just drop with maybe a dropper of the coloured water in, and you can see how it'll sink through. And it's an example of how clouds form and how it rains. That the tiny particles come from the rivers or the lakes or the ocean, and they get immersed, and then it gets so big that it starts to rain. And And then with the snowman that you can see there in the picture, that's just baking soda and hair conditioner and a bowl and an ice cube tray, or you could use any shape that you wanted, and you just mix the ingredients together until it forms a ball, and then it makes snow. And it like the comment says, it was actually really strange as it felt cold. So again, it's just posting things that I found online or on social media. There's so many pages and websites out there that it's just nice that I've got the time to sit and pull it all together, whereas that's the thing that people always struggle with, is the time to sit and find these ideas. But we've had some really nice comments, and it's nice to see that you are making a difference and that you're having an impact on the children, really, is the main thing. So that was the impact from all the feedback we've had from the project, that we've engaged all of the earlier settings. We had 100% response from the questionnaire that I sent out. So that was really good, although I did nag a few of them, the last couple, to get it done. And ongoing support, they get in touch with me for ideas if they've got some project, and can you help me find some STEM ideas for this, that, or the next thing, and source materials for them. And like that, we've purchased quite a lot of new resources for them, and they've, as you've seen in the feedback, it's boosted their confidence to teach STEM and providing lots of practical ideas. And finally, is just some websites that quite often I came across, especially Making Learning Fun with Mrs H. That's a really good one. It's so simple and practical, and obviously the Education Scotland website and STEM Nation as well. But that's everything. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Muriel. A huge array of activity and experiences for the children there that are just fantastic. And I love how what you've done is said there is, you're absolutely right, there's so much out there, and there is a rich array of activities, and it is great that you've managed to pull them kind of all together and to get that interest and to spark that interest at that early age, which is really what we want to do. And we want to continue that spark of interest and keep that going throughout the progress in education as well. And that's such a rich tapestry that you've been able to share with us there. So thank you so much for taking the time to do your demonstrations as well, which was fantastic. Thank you so much. We're now going to, I don't know if anybody...
One thing, sorry, I was going to say that the CERC do these online days, sessions, and there's another day coming up on the 4th of May, and the closing date is the 13th of April, so I thought I would flag that up. It's an early years STEM day. It's on their website.
That's great, thank you. There's some lovely comments in the chat as well for you there as well, and people were talking about the microscopes, so I've popped a wee link to a digital microscope that's on Amazon if you want to have a wee look at that as well. And Mary shared the Teddy in the Park CERC resource there as well, so it was fantastic to see the Muriel. Thank you so much for sharing. That's much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think we're now going to move on from our next presenter, and that's going to be Lindsay from, if I can get the presentation up in the right order, that would be helpful. So Lindsay, you're going to share from us your view from Sidlaw Primary School. Thank you, Lindsay.
Hi everyone, thank you for inviting me along, and Muriel, that was fantastic. That was absolutely brilliant, and there's so many things that we're doing so similarly, but I'm in a primary school setting, and in fact some of the stuff that you were talking about, materials, I've just been doing last week in a different vein, so I can maybe expand on that as I go through. But anyway, I'm at Sidlaw View Primary School in Dundee. We started our STEM journey in 2019. For me, it was a personal area of interest, and I was carrying out some professional inquiry before that about it, but we're looking to start in the year 2019 school year with it. We initially applied for the Scottish Government Education Scotland grant to support us, and we're unsuccessful the first time, but the second time, which was was just 2021-22 year, we were successful, hooray! And that has allowed us to even build our STEM stuff even more in school. So we started out with a rough plan, which has really become a real consistent 3-year plan. In the first year, I delivered STEM through our RCT or non-contact time. Some people call it Macron time, we call it RCT in our school. I went in, delivered STEM basically to everyone in our school through that in 2.5-hour blocks to each class. We're a small school. We've just recently gone over 200 pupils. We were single streaming that year, and we were delivering it in that way. I would go in, give STEM learning, and the enthusiasm from the children was just fantastic. And it really created this buzz and this vibe around STEM and what did STEM mean. And the kids would come up to me and say, we were doing this in a literacy lesson, we were using your words. And, you know, they were starting to say things about what they were learning. They'd be doing a story with ice caps in it, and then it led on to what we were doing around, say, COP26 when it was on, and we were doing all the stuff around materials or things like that. They'd come up and tell me, we were doing something else and I've got to tell you how we used your learning, and they're making the links and the learning. So in the first year it was just me delivering it, and the second year of doing it was when we got our STEM grant. So that allowed me to start really working out what resources we had and identifying how we could make this a bigger plan for staff but support staff to do it. So we took our planning from our curriculum. We identified a planned approach over a 3-year period and how we would split up. And generally we took science curriculum and applied then the technologies, the engineering subjects and the maths towards them. Since then, we've been able to offer staff set training times where they're either supported by myself or in class coaching. We found that the model of actually helping while the learners are in the classroom made much more of an impact than being at a training session and not seeing how it could apply to the learners or how it could be used. I must say though, Muriel's absolutely right, the CERC training, which we've had in this last year, because we're now part of a primary science partnership. The 4 primary schools in our cluster are all part of a cluster partnership working with CERC this year, and I'm the lead mentor for that for our school and for our cluster. That has given, so this weekend I'm away to CERC for the whole weekend, Friday and Saturday, away doing all of the rest of the work that I then bring back and cascade through the school. I've been delivering training sessions or arranging other training, working from what we need as a staff. We've also used what CERC were planning to deliver to us as a planned approach across this year, because this year being our 3rd year of delivering STEM, we have taken the approach that I am leading it more, and the teachers are now taking on STEM more themselves. So we've been putting in strategies over this period of time to really support our staff so that nobody felt overwhelmed with it. Nobody felt it was another thing to do. Nobody felt that it was another something that we were just taking on. We want it really embedded in our school, because the impact came from the children. The impact came from how they were engaged with it, how they spoke about STEM, how they would look forward to their STEM sessions with me and ask to do it in different ways, or they were applying their learning in free time and things. It was just wonderful. So we also planned as part of that to try and get our Digital Schools Award, which again, here I go, we're cheering, yay! We got our Digital Schools Award in September last year, and I've been celebrating in different ways since. It's been it's been just a boost for the children as well. So the next step, the eyes are on the STEM Nation Award and things. But to give you an overview of some of the things that we've done, this has an embedded little video. I'll let you have a little look. Don't know if the sound's not come through. Anyway, these are a group of children that were working with one of my colleagues. The children were making paper mache or volcanoes. You could see beforehand we did a lot of background work and writing up their experience. We make sure that we're discussing the science language. We, as part of our cluster, we have a STEM working group with our high school, the 4 primary schools, the 2 local primaries, and the Dundee and Angus College are part of our STEM working group. We've then put into embedded ideas across that to have shared language and consistency, so that we do moderation together. We look at lesson plans together as a cluster, looking to make sure that we're having shared approaches for certain things and looking for ways to jointly work together. So this is just an example of, you see the tectonic plates here going on, whose structure can withstand things. We're bringing in every lesson, we're trying to be explicit with our science, our technologies, engineering, and maths, and how the children then can see how it applies to the learning that they've had within a specific lesson. I'll let you have a little look, but we always go back to how we can improve them and things. And here you can see Lucy and Honeys was the one to withstand the earthquake. The next slide on from here has some of the work that we've been doing around microbits. We were all given these as schools. They have been such a boost. The microbit training online, I find that my colleague and I are both co-digital leaders for the school, as well alongside me doing the STEM side of it. We find that these sessions are fantastic, especially when they're relevant to the seasons. The Christmas one was brilliant. We were making them light up on our Christmas trees. We've had ones where the children have done them for mood. We've done them for maths. We've done them for voting. Children are using them as pedometers. We've got them in different classes now right throughout the school, using them in different ways from the ones that we were given. These have been a real boost to our STEM learning, trying to incorporate it in different ways. And the children come up with great ideas. They've used them to create music and play tunes to younger children. I find the microbit website so good, and the coding side of it all comes in there so well. I was just trying to give you more examples. The next slide has, I think, the Legos. Nope, Minecraft. Minecraft, using the book and quill, we've been starting to extend our knowledge of Minecraft as we're using it more and more, using planning, making sure that they're doing all the stages of STEM learning within Minecraft, setting different challenges. Class teachers have used it to link to class novels that they're doing. We've had the BFG, we've had them making aspects of that. We've had the Dundee landscape has changed in the waterfront area over the years. We've had them redesign things. Our local authority also do competitions as well, and our school have been entering these because they love that the chance to try and win something, but also participate against other colleagues, other children in other schools and things as well. So this has been, Minecraft's a real boost. We've got the Minecraft education package for our school, and it's all across Dundee. So it's fantastic. That gives everybody another way of doing it. We also took part in the Lego Challenge project. I'm not sure who took part, but they had a different way of taking part in it, because it was more to support the children that were taking part so that they could have the same opportunities as everyone else. The children in Nurture absolutely loved this. Coding, putting it all together, building them in the first place. Working as a team was one of the foremost things. The discussions that come out of STEM learning are absolutely wonderful. And there's a little link there. I don't know if you'll be able to play all of that, but people can maybe look at it later. That's from the Lego Discover project, which our primary ones took part in. So the junior children set challenges every week. They get a 6-brick challenge. They were set things to do with the bricks, and then we would talk about, it was all around transport. So we did things all around transport. How would you do things? And every week they'd build something for their Lego box, and it went away. And then the next week they'd build another challenge. How would you carry a transport? And we talked about, we always try to bring into our STEM lessons something about developing the young workforce. So were we talking about postmen delivering things, or couriers, or who else delivers things? Oh, you get your fridge delivered. They'd come up with the children's ideas. The STEM capital that they bring along just brings so much to the lessons. So if you have an opportunity later, please feel free to have a little look at that video. We did a big celebration event for all the children, and they just loved it. It was another way to just share STEM even in the early years. If I link into what Muriel was saying about her teddy bears and things, we have the Discovery boat in Dundee, and it went off to the Antarctic, and it messed with icebergs. And at the moment, our primary 3 children are planning their materials talk, and they were doing all the insulation of how Captain Scott's going to stay warm in his coat, what clothing would he wear. It really links on to what you've what Muriel was saying, but extending it for them. We had them building tents, and you were saying about the bits about building the teddy bears things and going out on different things. We've had the children building tents out of materials and chairs in the classroom, and we've opened up the Coda Pillars had to avoid. We set them a challenge to avoid different icebergs in the classroom, the same with the bee-bots. We also had even just marble runs out for activities. They're trying to get the marble to work all the way down, so avoided, we were saying, is there an iceberg in there? Their imaginations. Then we had recyclable materials, and the children made things that they needed for their adventure. So we had scoops for the snow and binoculars being made, and the children have all put these in their trays so they can bring them out for when they're on their adventures next. It's just been cascading more and more. But other classes are doing materials and linking them with stories in the early years. So we've got the Three Little Pigs and Little Red Riding Hood happening in our primary 1 and primary 2 classrooms at the moment. And again, they're using all their ideas to think out what would they wear, what would she carry, what can you carry things in? And they're just building it on the children's knowledge as well. And of course, engaging them in the storytelling of it all. So if this helps anyone with ideas, this is what we've been doing. We've also in school from this year started our Young STEM Leaders. So our primary 7s are all Young STEM Leaders. We've also got a leadership group of children from primary 3 to primary 7. The leadership group came up with at Sid Love You, we are STEM-tastic, and we are taking STEM to the next level. This year was when we've really started this, the children being more involved in the leadership of it, because if we're embedding it, it has to come from them more and more, and they feel that we've been doing STEM a wee while, Mrs. Grubb. Of course you have. So, well, now we're just taking it to the next level. So that's exactly what we're doing. We are now making sure that everyone is involved in STEM, is enjoying it. The teachers are delivering it in different ways. We're linking it to curriculum subjects. We're making it part of our IDL, and all teachers across the school are now are heavily involved in delivering STEM. So that's where we're at just now. The children can I add to that bit there? The children in the primary 7 group have actually been taking on leading certain curricular areas as well, and delivering lessons as part of the Young STEM leadership. So some of the children have been down in the infants delivering on species, and some have been delivering on the body. But I would give them things that they might need to know, but from the first session on species to the second session on the body, the difference in what the children want to tell them. But I want to tell them this, I want to tell them how the heart pumps, and I'm going to make a PowerPoint on this. They are now leading the learning themselves. They are now, the ideas are flowing from them. I just get set it up, give them the resources that they need, and they are now embedding it with the other children. And it's amazing, the response from the younger children too. It's really, really, really good. So none of this, as I've said, wouldn't have been as much in our school had it not been for the Enhancing Professional Learning STEM grant that we received. This is our 2nd year of having it. It's made such a difference to allow me the time to lead this. I have been able to plan for resources, deliver training to the staff, do one-on-ones. I've offered coaching to staff. I've offered team teaching or watching me deliver a lesson. I've offered planning sessions for lessons. And because of the STEM grant, we've been able to do that. I'm also still class committed as well. I have put together a bank of resources, like Muriel was suggesting. I've done something for every curricular area and shared that with staff as well, highlighting different websites that they can go on to support the learning and include STEM with it. So that's one of the things that I've been able to do to support us developing STEM at Sid Love You Primary. And I've just given my contact details and information for anyone that would like them. So if you have any questions, please feel free. I hope I've not gone too far over time.
Not at all, Lindsay. Thank you so much. And it's fantastic to see the range of activities and opportunities that you've managed to create with here. We know we've obviously been very fortunate with the funding there as well, but what's really nice to see is that whole progressive approach that you have right the way through the school, and those opportunities for your children and young people, which is just, and it's outstanding. And I think your secondary school are going to have a nice job with those very skilled, knowledgeable young people for what their next journey, where their next journey goes as well.
We are just waiting to look at how that impacts. We're wondering what the impact will be as things go on. It's just been early days so far to see what the impact will be, whether more people choose science subjects. That's certainly something we're monitoring with our high school closely.
Yep, so that's great. That's great that you have those.
Thank you.
Those links. So it's great. Thank you so much for sharing. And there's some lovely comments. It's perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Fantastic. So let me just bring the presentation to the next part. Here we go. Excellent. So yeah, what we thought we would just like to do is, I know time is very short, but I just wonder if what you've heard this afternoon, if you just take a moment to reflect on what has been shared by both our fantastic presenters this afternoon, and if there's anything that you would like to try out or that you might take forward in your own practice. It's really been inspiring to hear that this afternoon. I know it's a lot of information to take in. If you want to just pop anything that you've heard that's really resonated with you, pop that into the chat. If you've got any questions, indeed feel free to pop that in as well, or stick your hand up, come off your mute and ask away or share away.
I was just wondering if there was anybody else on the call who's maybe going to this early years session at CERC this weekend, as well as the others. I do know one of the ladies who runs the session in CERC, Amy Dixon, is a good friend of Education Scotland. She did some fabulous work when she was based in Edinburgh and is now continuing that up at CERC. And I know I did an early years, it's a long time ago because I'm very, very old. But I did a session up at CERC for early years, and it was really quite inspiring. So I can add my thoughts to that and say definitely worth doing it.
Yeah, someone in the chat has just popped about they're definitely wanting to try out the Teddy in the Park to tie in with our next talk for writing a story, and you're looking into some young STEM leaders too. Excellent. So great to hear about your successes. Great. No, that's lovely to hear. Fantastic.
We do have a previous session where we had some people who were extolling the virtues of the Young STEM Leader Programme, which is on our team site. So if you haven't already seen that, you might want to have a pop on and have a look at the presentation from them as regards the Young STEM Leaders Programme. A lot of helpful hints on there as well.
Thank you, Lynn. And finally, this is what I mentioned earlier at the start of the session when we were looking at our STEM online resource. You've heard from two fantastic presenters this afternoon, and again we'd like to hear from more of you as well in terms of sharing the work that you're doing. And you don't have to be all singing, all dancing, or at the kind of end stage of your programme or anything like that. It might just be something small that's made a really big difference to you and to your learners, most importantly. But if there is anything that you're willing to share with us across this network, please feel free to always share any links or anything like that within the STEM team, within the STEM Nation team itself, but also the QR code that's on the screen there and on our online resource will take you to a form to complete, to just fill in to give us an idea of what practice it is you would like to share, and it would be great to be able to hear from you in that respect as well.
Yeah, and we won't make you speak for 45 minutes.
No,
you know, it can be a 5-minute. It can be a wee 5-minute input. It could be a wee 10-minute input. Really, entirely up to yourselves. But we have found that really what you as practitioners value the most is hearing from other practitioners. So that's why we want to encourage you to take part in that. Sorry, Lorena, I interrupted you there.
No, not at all, not at all. No, we really do, and that's important to say, Lynn, that you don't need to do a huge amount of presenting work or anything like that, which you can just give us that wee 5-minute quick insert as well. That would be fantastic. So if there's nobody got any burning questions or anything, I guess that's us for this afternoon. Thank you again to both our presenters. It has been inspiring, genuinely inspiring, hearing all of your progress and the work that you've been doing, which is just fantastic, and giving people, I think, a lot of food for thought, given the comments in the chat there as well. Our next meeting is on the 11th of May, which we'll be delighted again to see you all there. And there's a wee evaluation link that you'll see on the screen, and through the QR code there as well. And this session was recorded, so we'll be able to share that with you at some point in the near future coordinator as well. Colleagues, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say before we sign off, just conscious of time this
I
evening.
was just going to come in and say just a huge thank you to you, Lorraine, for pulling it together, because I wasn't convinced how my Wi-Fi would be out of Click Manager this afternoon, so the Wi-Fi hotspot. So a huge thank you to you for doing that on our behalf.
Pleasure, no problem. Okay, folks, if there's no any burning questions, thanks again to our presenters, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening. Thank you very much for coming this afternoon. Much appreciated.